Call to order the August 12th meeting of the Conestoga Valley Board of School Directors. Will you please join me in the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone who's with us today, as well as those that are joining us online. Mrs. Martin, could we have attendance, please?
All 9 directors are present tonight.
Oh. I didn't see her come in. I thought, where did you get them? So we have a quorum, and I would add the superintendent and the administrative cabinet are also present along with the board secretary. This is our work session, the first of 2 meetings per month, which we receive most of our informational presentations as well as discuss and deliberate future decisions. There may be some action voting items required on timely issues or to meet time restraint guidelines. All agendas and related public documents are posted on the district website. I would take a motion to approve the agenda if there are no additions. Oh, I'm sorry. You have an addition?
Yeah, the superintendent's report has 2 new hires that occurred since the post went active on Friday, and they are noted in red.
Okay, thank you. If that's the only changes, could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Dr. Hartman, it's all yours.
All right, good evening, board, public, other guests. Excited to introduce some new staff members this evening. First up, we have Kate Kendig. Kate, give us a little wave. So, Kate will be joining us as an ESL teacher at Leola Elementary School. She's worked in the school district of Lancaster from 1997 until 2001 as both a classroom teacher and a reading recovery teacher. After taking some time off, she returned to SDOL in 2019 as an ESL teacher. She has a bachelor's degree in education from Lebanon Valley College and a second bachelor's degree in second language program specialist from Penn State University. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you.
Next is Lauren Ashcroft. Lauren will be our new physical education and wellness teacher at the middle school. Lauren is a recent 2024 graduate of Westchester University with a bachelor's of science in health and physical education with a minor in exercise science. She student taught in the Norristown and Garnett Valley school districts, and while at Westchester, she received the College of Education and Social Work's Outstanding Senior Award. Quite an accomplishment. So, welcome, Lauren.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joshua Bettina. Joshua is going to be our new business ed teacher at the high school. He's a 2023 graduate of IUP, where he was a business, computers, and information technology education major with a minor in technology education. That's a lot to say. So this past year, he spent substituting in the Bethel Park School District near Pittsburgh. While at IUP, he received the Chick-fil-A Scholarship Award and the Sutton Scholarship Award. He also enjoys volunteering and has helped to coordinate 3 muscular dystrophy fundraiser events while at IUP and has volunteered with the Bridgeville Food Pantry and the Duquesne Soccer Camp for children with disabilities. So a lot of great experience working with children. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you.
So, Maeve Hantrow, did I pronounce that correctly? Close?
Yeah, that's me.
So, Maeve's going to be our new orchestra director at the high school. She wins the award this year for furthest distance of a hire. We're hiring her out of Texas.
Nice.
So originally out of New York. She's been teaching in Texas for about the last 3.5 years or so, I believe. So most recently, she served as the orchestra director at Cedar Bayou Junior High School. She received her bachelor's degree in music education from SUNY Potsdam Crane School of Music, which anybody who knows anything about music education, that's one of the very well-known, reputable music education programs on the East Coast. So we're excited to have Maeve with us. Welcome.
And welcome to Pennsylvania, you're coming up in the world.
All right, so those are our new teachers we have to introduce, and we'd like to introduce our recommended candidates for our 2 principal positions next. So first up, we have Charles Travato. Charles, want to give a wave? Charles is being recommended as the new principal of Fritz Elementary School. Dr. Travato began his teaching career in the Wilson School District. He then went on to serve 2 years as a program administrator with the Berks County IU, and then 4 years as the supervisor of professional learning services with Lincoln Intermediate Unit 12. Most recently, he has served as the director of curriculum and federal programs with the Conestoga Valley School District. So rumor has it that when he applied there, he thought he was applying at Conestoga Valley. He spent a year there, realized he made the mistake, and now he applied here. He's in the right spot, right? Is that okay? So now you're at the real CV. So welcome, Charles. Charles has, just to go over his educational background, has a bachelor's of arts in mathematics and a master's in teaching secondary education, both from Quinnipiac University in Connecticut. And he has his doctorate in educational leadership from Newman University. So, welcome, Charles. And finally, our recommended candidate for the principal at Brownstown, Mr. Phil Ludwig. Phil has served as the principal of the James Hamilton Elementary School in the School District of Lancaster since 2016. Prior to that, he served as an assistant principal and learning support teacher, also at Hamilton. He holds a bachelor's degree in special education and elementary education from Kutztown University and a master's in leadership for teaching and learning from Millersville University. And most importantly, he is a Conestoga Valley resident and parent. He has children in the district currently, so we're excited about that. So welcome, Phil. Thank you.
We want to welcome all of our new.
I do have one more comment to make, non-related to new hires. There's a little bit of a surprise, and I'm not, I know she'll be upset with me for this, but we did receive, and we want to recognize our board president, Idette Groff. Just received a plaque in the mail from PSBA honoring her for 25 years of service. We know that she wasn't going to want somebody from PSBA coming down here presenting it, so we said just mail it to us, and we'll take care of it. So congratulations, Idette.
In my years, that only proves I'm certifiable. Is that it?
Do you have a speech?
No, I don't. Board comments. Are there any board comments? If not, we'll move on to the action discussion items, starting with approval of the superintendent's report, which I guess you pretty well reviewed for us.
I did.
I skipped something, didn't I?
Public comment.
Public comments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is anyone from the public that would like to address an issue that's on the agenda? See, I knew that. Okay, then we'll move on to superintendent's report. We're gonna leave it at that?
I'm gonna leave it at what I shared already. You'll notice just approvals, transfers, and some other personnel items on the agenda this month.
Could I have a motion to accept the superintendent's report?
I move that we accept the superintendent's report.
Second.
Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Aye.
Mrs. Groff?
Aye. That makes it the vote unanimous, and I guess we wait a moment for all these people to stand up and leave. So we should have to do that now. Oh.
Run away.
So, like, should we Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
I think
Johnny
I'm
on
up
the spot.
next.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right,
Mr.
well, good
Johnson.
evening, everyone. Which one do you have up first? Keystone Construction one. We had the tennis courts resurfaced. I did include an attachment in there. Dr. Hartman, if you could open that one up possibly. It shows a before and after. So that is what what the tennis courts did look like with all the cracks being repaired and all of that. So if you can kind of scroll to the next one, here's our finished product. But from the finished product, you see the nicely faded old style logo that are located at each end of that runway through the center. So what I'm bringing to you this evening is a proposal to actually redo those logos with our current logo, be done in the school colors with the CV, but in a round circle. So give you some scale to be 26 feet in diameter. So that's probably about the width of this room, or close to it. So it's large circles, so they have to create the templates for it and do all that. So I think it's a little over $8,000 to do a logo at each end of that walkway. Because we do have gates down at the other end, and people do enter from both ends of that. So we would face it to them when they're walking onto that plaza area. So don't need approval on it this evening. Looking forward for next week would be fine. So, but I thought it was a good way to see what the before and after was, and how really over time that the colors did fade. So the company did a great job for us on the repairs. We walked the entire property and the site looking at, any imperfections, and they did a wonderful
How
job.
long has that been, do you know?
2018. Yeah, 2018 is the last time we refinished it, and prior to that, I couldn't tell you. I found no evidence in the records of like a history before that, and those courts were put in 2006. So it's possible that 18 might have been the first time they were resurfaced.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe some minor repairs, but.
Some minor
Yeah.
repairs, but I think that was probably the first time they were really completely
Yeah,
done over
sure.
was in 18, and now, some additional cracks and things. It's asphalt, it's gonna move, and over time, it just needs care taken.
So we expect 6 years that'll be faded again?
We're gonna keep after it with pressure washing and cleaning it up, so, yeah, he said 6 to 8 years, we'll have to watch it. Obviously UV is the sun beating on it's probably one of the worst things. He did make some other recommendations, like take the netting down over the winter months. He said that'll help on the perimeter fencing with putting force on the concrete with freeze and thaw. So it was a very good company. I was happy to work with them. So we're looking to do some other work with them in the future, so.
Do we get use out of the courts in the winter?
You'd be surprised how many times those courts are being used.
That's what I was like, if we take the nets down, then.
Not the perimeter nets, that's
Oh, okay.
more of a windscreen. We don't take the nets down on the courts themselves. Yeah, we have all the lights are on timers, well, they can plug coins into them. I forget what it costs to run them for a few minutes, but they're filled with quarters all the time, and I've driven past here late into the evening and the courts are lit up, and it's just the public are using them, so.
And that logo that is there is the original probably from,
That's a very dated logo, yeah, yep. Yeah, they used to be plastered all throughout the stadium years ago and the tennis courts, and the other end is the south end of the tennis courts, it's faded much worse. And the other change order is for the Yola, it's related to the asbestos abatement. They found some additional caulking, and they had it tested and confirmed it was asbestos abatement, so it's like $1,405 for the removal of that. So it's well in line with their unit costs and everything, so our environmental engineer is on board with this and felt it was in line.
That can't be a lot of asbestos at that price. I mean, usually that can be very expensive.
It can be. The fact that this was outside and you don't have to tin it and do all that.
Oh, I see.
So a lot of it's the process, so, but all the asbestos work has been completed to date.
Oh.
So all that's done, they're completed with their part of the project, and they've moved on to
Good.
something else, so.
Any questions?
It doesn't mess with the timelines at all?
Nope, no impact on the timelines. So,
And this will be the consent agenda for next week.
that's
Thank
wonderful,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Mann?
Looks like it was just caulk.
this is a return engagement.
So the last time, I'm the one that didn't talk. Where's my friends? Well, good evening, everyone. This is actually pretty short. This is just to talk about some of the feedback we received, which we received none from the community, which is, I mean, that's fine. The plan itself will be on the consent agenda next week for your approval. I don't know if anybody had any questions or comments at this point.
You just refresh my memory as to what it is.
So this is the school-wide plan for targeted assistance, for targeted support for our students. Remember, I had priority 1 area focused on the assessments of monitoring students' learning. And there's goal statements for math and ELA within there. Priority 2 focused on PBIS. And so we had started at about a year and a half ago. And so continuing that. And priority 3 actually focuses on MTSS, multi-tier support system.
Did you
To
remember?
me, it didn't look like there was a informational.
Do you remember what meeting it was that you presented that to us, that we had the,
For this, July, it was
Yeah.
July 15th.
that was July, this last month?
Mhm.
So if you want to go back and check.
Yeah, because it needed 1 month review, or opportunity for a review. Okay,
Good.
great, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Mrs. Odell. This we discussed the last time.
Yep.
So where did we come down at this point?
So we still have the 3 options. We can stick with Google Translate, which if you look at our current site is a very small little icon in the upper left corner. We can choose a 5-language translation package with Weglot, or we can choose a 10-language translation packet with Weglot.
Did you get my?
I did, I
email?
responded to that, so.
Sorry, I didn't.
No,
have a
that's
chance to look.
fine. So Kathy had asked about if we can make a change mid-contract, and we can go from 5 to 10. We cannot go from 10 to 5 because it's a 5-year contract. Obviously, the startup cost we would not incur that again if we went from 5 to 10 or 10 to, but we cannot go backwards for at least this 5-year contract.
And if we start with 5 and then want to go to 10, we're not guaranteed this price that you're.
Not guaranteed, but I would think if we decide within a few months, they usually have annual contract increases and
No.
they run off a fiscal year, I would
I
think.
meant later into the contract.
Yes, no, correct, we'd have to reach back out and get new pricing from them it could end up being the same price, but we can't guarantee it.
No, it says 5 languages, 200,000 words. Is that per language or total 200,000?
Per language, yeah, and he said essentially you can kind of ignore the words, it really no one has ever hit that limit of words of translation.
And remind us again, what your recommendation would be as far as access to the people that actually need this.
So my recommendation would be to stick with Google Translate or go to 10. I think 5, we have about 8 languages where we've got at least 2 to 3 requests to translate. If we only stick with 5, we're missing quite a few of those 2 or 3 different translations, which we have a good chunk of, I'd say 8, that we get multiple requests for. I think 5 would be sufficient, but I feel like it looks like we're not making an attempt to meet the needs of our district. That being said, Google Translate is currently meeting those needs. So if we want to stick with the free option, that is totally fine. We just can't guarantee when that support might come to an end.
Now, users can have things on their end that translate
Correct,
websites,
yeah. Like they could, even Microsoft Word translated, so they could copy something in Microsoft Word and translate it on their own.
Okay.
And the risk we run of sticking with Google Translate now is then in a year or 2 or whatever it is, we don't know what the price of this service will be then, correct?
Right.
Versus this is a lock-in.
Yeah, exactly. And Google Translate, again, could last us 5 years, could last none, and then there's also no customer support behind the scenes. So if there's a
Right.
glitch with Google Translate, there's no one we can really go to fix that glitch.
Have you had issues?
I haven't, but I
you
don't
know?
use Google Translate.
Okay,
That would honestly be a great question for our families that use it.
right.
I don't know. I don't know. I've not been told of any issues with Google Translate.
I don't imagine the number of languages that we're going to need are going to go down.
No, I wouldn't think so, no.
Right. So, if we're looking at the 10 languages, what was that, $4,500 a year, I think? Like, I don't know, I feel if we stick with the free Google Translate for now, and then in a year or two, is the price going to increase more than $4,500?
It's not going to
You know, or
skyrocket
$9,000,
increase,
you know,
right? Yeah.
that, like, I feel like we'd be better off ahead sticking with what's free for now and then adding it when we need to.
I mean, that's totally fine, it's working, again, I have not heard of any
Right.
complaints with Google Translate, so.
Okay.
This
I
project
mean,
is
that's
going
my
away.
2 cents, I don't,
There's a big difference in price there.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
I like sticking with Google Translate and maybe putting out a poll to our families
Yeah.
saying, hey, who would like Google Translate, what languages are you looking for, so we have more of an accurate information of
Yep.
if we need to go.
I usually
which
do like a
direction we're going.
biannual community feedback on our communications, and that can certainly be a question that we would throw into that to.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Since we can change midstream,
Mhm.
we may as well keep our pulse of how it's working.
Yeah, this company's not going anywhere, so,
Are we all okay with staying with Google Translate for now?
okay,
Okay,
All right.
if there's no objections to this, I'm going to hold that vote.
thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Dr. Hartman, Act 93 agreement, or plans.
Sure. So I believe at our July 15th meeting, we brought a draft of the Act 93 Administrator Compensation and Benefits Plan that we are proposing. I know everybody's had a chance to look at it multiple times. There were several areas that we were asked, there was just some minor tweaks and minor, more revisions, grammatical things to make to it, a few updates. So Adele and I worked on making those, and really there's, from a substance standpoint, not much different than what we presented before. It's just, we made some of those recommendations. We made some of those changes and are bringing it back for approval. Adele, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't.
What about the support staff plan? That's just every year we approve that. And
Yes. So we added that to the agenda for this evening as well, too.
I think they've already tightened up this. I had a couple things, I met with them, they had 4 or 5 more. And I think what's important with this is that every year this will be reviewed. We're not gonna allow ourselves to fall behind and then catch up every 5 years. So that'll make a big difference in keeping us where we need to be.
And similar to the collective bargaining agreement negotiations we went through this year, even though an Act 93 is not a collective bargaining agreement, it's not negotiations, there's a meet and discuss process. So we did have, we had some really positive meetings with our admin team. We really looked at tightening up that document, and I think we're pretty proud of what we produced there. I think it's gonna be a good tool for us moving forward, not only to make sure we're meeting the needs of our administrators and we're focusing on retaining our strong administrative team, but I think it'll help with recruitment of future administrators as well. So to have it all kind of nice, in a nice, neat package, I think is a good thing for us, where before we kind of had the agreement, but we had some different documents floating around out there. It was sort of hard to keep track of where to find what, so.
Are there any concerns with, and I'll also hold that vote.
The other question I had, Michelle Trasberg did a lateral move. Is her title under administrative staff?
If it wasn't added, we do add positions as they come up pretty frequently to that chart, but we have it in our zones. It's a zone 5,
Right,
like a principal.
right.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Okay, we'll also hold that vote. Mrs. Henry. Oh, no, I mean one. BAA bylaws. Mrs. Miles.
Hello.
Hello.
I just left practices, so that's fun. I love being outside with the practices. Hi, Shelley. How are you? Good. Do you want me to start? Sure. Okay. So the BAA board and I guess our executive committee thought that even though we did change a few of the bylaws last year, there were still some that needed to be tightened up. And so we did a bylaw review. And as you can see in the blue highlights, what those changes were. So if you have any questions, we are certainly able to explain anything for you.
There's one change about approval of fundraisers. Who does approve those if the board doesn't?
I submit them to the Dr. Fox and to Buildings and Grounds for approval that way. Same way as any other club does fundraising.
Okay.
It goes through them first.
I just would make sure we had an administrator making sure everything
Oh,
is
yeah.
aligned properly.
Yeah. I fill
Any
out the school district fundraising form for all of ours.
I'm just curious, do you have a general number of how many booster clubs we actually have?
We do. So we have 22 now, or we're up to 23.
23 now.
We're up to 23. Some do not have complete booster clubs yet, but they have representatives.
And we are working to make sure that all of our groups have the bylaws and create a board, and so that everybody across the board is consistent.
Any other concerns? There's no objections to this, I'll also hold that vote.
Thank you.
Okay.
Who's our rep this year? Which one of you is on the,
I'm sorry, that's going to be on the consent agenda next month.
the reps?
Next week.
Okay.
No, the
No, no.
bylaws, the bylaws will.
The approval will be on consent.
She's
No,
asking
who's
who
our
is
rep?
the,
Who is our
Who do I get
representative?
to
I don't
invite? We usually have a school board.
Who makes that assignment?
I think you do.
I was gonna say, I thought that was you guys.
I mean, you meant the board rep? Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
like
I'm
who
sorry.
can I, to make sure that we get the agenda to and get the invite for the meeting?
Which of you has that one?
I'm not sure.
Nobody knows? I will check and get
Okay.
it to you.
Thank
We'll
you.
find out.
I know who you speak.
Me too. It was Phil before, but I didn't know who took over.
I was wondering too.
Yeah,
I might have it here.
I'll check it. We do that in December. So it's probably on our website, but I'll go back and check and let you know.
Mike Talley and,
I am.
and we still needed a person that was never filled, so it was Mike Talley plus need one.
Plus
2024, yeah.
Mike plus one.
Mike and Fran.
So are Mike plus friend, are they to be attending our meetings, or what is the role of the school board member?
When they can, yes.
Okay,
Just send me the information.
okay.
Okay.
Phil just used to send me back a little blurb and say, bring this up, and that was great, if you can't make it.
I'll do my thing.
That works. That's all we want. That works.
And
Okay,
that's something we're trying to be a little more careful about, board members who sit on district committees, that they're notified when the meetings are.
Right, and we
she
want.
emailed him every
Okay,
month.
Not you.
Not you, the
Not you.
last rep, yeah.
The last rep, I made sure that we had, but I just wanna make sure that the communication stays open from all of
No,
us.
absolutely, we appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Mike, it is.
I'll send you my email
it's the-
address.
Yeah, perfect. And it's also, just so you have in the back of your head, it's the first Monday of every month, except the month of July.
Fine.
Okay? And
Good.
it's gonna be on Zoom. Easy peasy.
bet.
Except for,
Except voting months, yeah.
Except for voting.
Yes.
all right.
Nice.
Thank you.
Last
I would
Yes,
volunteer
thank
to be the alternate.
Mrs. Trowbridge will be your other,
Oh, good.
Shelley,
I'm sorry?
Mrs. Trowbridge has volunteered to fill in the other seat.
Okay.
So
We'll make sure you get included.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. So with us this evening is Ralph Hutchison. He's the Township Manager for East Peter Township. And Lisa Cleveland, she just joined the township as their recreational director. So they're going to go over the recreation program that we've been working on. We've been meeting with the township for a couple years. And so they'll give you an update on that. And then we have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that we're requesting approval. So have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Dr. Hartman, appreciate your time this evening. The road to get to this point has been somewhat long and winding, so for those of you who have been on the board for any number of years, you will recognize that. For those that are newer, I'm not going to bore you with a whole lot of history, but enough to say we're very happy to say that Lisa joined our staff at the end of May of this year, and she's hit the ground running, putting recreation programs out there. We've had this wonderful relationship with the school district to both create a recreation plan as well as to work towards implementing recreation programs in the community. And so we're here at this point. During the earlier discussions, there were efforts to formalize the relationship and find a way to work together between the township and the school district. Never really got completed. So now we're at this point, and the MOU is designed to somewhat formalize our relationship so that the school district knows what to expect from us, and we likewise know what we can expect from the school district. Essentially, what we're asking out of the MOU is for you to allow us to use your facilities without charge. And so happy to answer any questions. Lisa can certainly go over what we've been doing so far, if that's helpful to you, and what we're looking at for future plans. If that's also helpful, we're happy to go over that.
I would fill in a couple of the blanks here, that, not to go over the entire history, but this is a smaller, more manageable program than what we saw, and for those of you who were here before. It also allows, hopefully, for growth. The idea is to cover the entire district eventually. But East Lampeder Township has very graciously accepted the full cost of maintaining the department in the hopes that when they see what all Lisa can do for us, the others will be more willing to have the students there. Their programs will be available to everyone in the district, but those that have a price will have a two-tiered price, if you're East Lampeder or not. So that's sort of the catch to try to get them to join in. As I remember, they classify as a class 2, which would be free for the classrooms anyhow. So basically what this does is it streamlines that. They can apply for a whole season's worth of classrooms. And if you remember when we talked about this before, they understand we don't have available fields, but we included that in everything, thinking, if things change, then, if they would be available, then they would be available to them too. But what our district uses and what is already committed to, our fields are full up. I think that's why I wanted to make sure everyone understood that was how this worked. They're mentioned in there, but they understand we have no fields available. So I think it's an excellent way for us to expand our health and wellness programs for our kids and our cooperation with the township. It has been a long haul to come up with a program that works for all of us. So I sort of leave that to you to ask any questions that are still left.
Does that also include the gymnasiums?
No, gymnasiums are separate. Okay, we're talking, basically they're talking classrooms. I don't know what availability is of gymnasiums, but I should think it's not much better than it already is for fields.
Right, we had discussed that before, that there's a lot of youth programs that are using the gymnasiums, especially at the elementary level, and obviously at the secondary level, we've got our sports teams that are using the gymnasiums. If there would be, let me try that again. If there were to be some availability, we could let them use the gymnasiums free of charge, or some of the other fields too. Obviously, any CV-sponsored activities take priority. Lisa came out one day and we spent several hours walking around and driving around, and the one thing that struck me the most was if there's going to be a program for some of the younger students, and if there are other non-athletic fields that could be used as well too, that I think would meet their needs. But what Lisa said to me that day would be wanting to develop some of these programs to slow the summer slide for especially for some of the younger groups. And I think that's the intangible benefit right now, to be able to implement that.
I wanted to mention the free use of these classrooms costs us nothing. We tried to figure that out before. We have maintenance people here till 11 o'clock at night, so electricity is already on. We can schedule what classrooms we make available to their cleaning schedule. So we couldn't even measure, the small amount of electricity that might be involved in this.
So can I ask, as far as in facilities go, then what would be your primary usage? Are you thinking like what facilities of ours would you look to use the most then? Classrooms?
I would say like for continuing education type classes, classrooms would be used. If we do any kind of an adult fitness program, we need a larger multi-purpose type of space to
Okay,
do those type of things too.
okay.
But here it says fields, playgrounds, and certain other outdoor and indoor recreational spaces. And facilities for recreational programs and public access.
We listed everything in the
So it's
MOU,
the-
so we
yeah.
didn't have to
Yeah. It's more
redo
than
it
just
every
classroom.
time something became available.
Right.
Right.
I think my big thing was, and I'm not gonna say no, but just for feedback, okay? When we redid the field, we paid for that ourselves. And when we redo the basketball courts or tennis courts, et cetera, we're picking up the bill for everything. And that's why we rent spaces out, in order to get reimbursed for that. With a township, you're not paying for anything.
And that's one of the things we discussed when we
Yeah.
met last month.
We did.
There would be little use of fields really that they would need. There might be, maybe there's a summer program, we could look for an alternative grass
Yeah, it's
area
just more
for
the spirit of
kiddos.
the cooperation.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, it's like my neighbor borrowing everything, but not letting me borrow anything,
Right.
type of thing. That was my only rub from that aspect of it.
What is it that you'd like to borrow from us?
I'll create a list.
Early on,
Or how about, you know what, let me ask you this. So we need to put CV logos on the tennis courts. Would the township pick up that tab?
well, some of our residents will be picking up that tab because the school district is paying for it. So we serve the same,
Understand.
we serve the same taxpayers.
Yeah. And we've never said no to that thing, but now, just feedback's a gift. That's one of the things we talked about, keeping the taxpayer money and community money separate, since this is an educational institution and not a community service institution from a taxpayer standpoint. People pay taxes to educate their kids.
But we also have a lot of our residents who pay taxes, who are often saying they don't get to use the facilities they're paying for, so.
Correct,
and we have
that's different.
We have tried so many times to start adult programs, and we're not
And I
successful.
know we've had this for years, and I don't wanna go backwards, don't get me wrong.
No, I don't either, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
we thought when we built the fitness center, we could make this available to the community, and then we used it 100% of the time ourselves. So anything we can do to bring the entire community in at no extra cost to us, is a plus.
I, for one, was very pleased to see about adult education.
Yeah, we had to drop that program years ago, and I'd
Done
love
that
to
in
see
the
it come
past,
back.
and now it's not available anyplace.
We plan to continue to outreach to the community and find out what the community wants in terms of recreation programs. So we expect that that'll be one of the areas.
CP once had a very vibrant adult ed program.
I'm aware.
Quick question is, would this be essentially just like the high school and middle school, or is like all school district buildings, other, like Brownstown Elementary, that's not in East Lampeter, or?
Our expectation would be just these,
Just
those
East
in East
Lampeter.
Lampeter.
Okay.
Everything but Brownstown,
Right.
I believe is in.
Leola's
And
not.
Leola's
Leola,
not.
and
Leola's
Leola,
not,
right.
yes.
Yeah, and the hope is
Okay.
eventually to be able to expand it.
Good, yeah, I know we talked about bringing in
But right
West
now,
Earl and all that kind of
East
stuff.
Lampeter Township is footing the bill.
Right, correct.
So,
Well, that's why I was wondering if it was
and they
Yes,
hope
just
to
to
be
the-
able to expand it.
the
if
facilities in that
townships will-
township.
Will join in.
Okay.
But they're not going to sponsor programs that are being held at Brownstown.
Correct.
Brownstown wants them, that's great, you can add them to the mix, but that would be each township's decision.
Yeah, West Earl.
Any other questions or
Just
concerns?
personally, I think that's very generous of East Lampeter to do this. So thank you.
I'll convey that to the board, thank you.
Are there any concerns or objections to this agreement? If not, we'll hold that date also at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to
I'm glad
working with you.
I'm glad we
Thank you.
finally got here. It's been a long trip.
Yes, and that's for the consent.
It's consent.
I'm sorry, what?
It's for the
We
consent
don't,
agenda.
yeah, that doesn't have to be on our.
Oh,
list of
okay,
approvals,
you're right.
right.
We'll put that on the consent agenda for next Monday.
Maybe they'll spell my name
Is Mr. Maisano going to,
It needs,
do the solar panel? Or are you doing that?
Adele's gonna do that.
Yes,
That
solar
was good.
panel, yes. So Matt Masano is a tech ed teacher over at the middle school. He had been at the high school for years and then transferred over to the middle school. He applied for and was awarded a grant through the Education Foundation for a solar panel project. What he's proposing is to put solar panels up on the roof area over the tech ed wing and use that for a lot of educational curriculum purposes. To start with too, these solar panels will not penetrate the roof. It's going to be a wrapped roof racking, so that we're not going to have any issues with the roof since it is a new building. Matt's planning to, again, use this for helping the students to integrate the solar panels and the electricity savings and other aspects into their curriculum, and do a lot of analysis and graphing of that. He could better explain all of that to you, but as I got involved with him, and Ken Johnson and I met quite a few times with Matt to go over this. It was really interesting, very exciting. So I'm anxious to see this get started for him. Since this was over the bid threshold, we did go out to bid, and we emailed and invited vendors to apply for, or to submit a bid for the project. We had a mandatory pre-bid meeting so that we could have the potential bidders on site looking at the roof area of the middle school, and we only had two potential bidders show up. So Ken suggested that we amend the bid and have another pre-bid meeting and make it non-mandatory, thinking that we could, hopefully attract some more bidders. We had one company show up and they did not submit a bid. So in total, we received two bids. The one bid was a day late. It's a required time that it gets delivered, so that was one issue. The second was we required, and we had all the bidders sign off on certain aspects of the bid requirements, that they are located within a 30-mile radius, and this company was from out of state. So we are coming to you this evening to recommend Paradise Energy Solutions as the vendor to be awarded the bid.
Could you tell us what that grant was for, how much?
The total grant was for about a gross of about $92,000. However, there is a federal tax, well, it's not a tax rebate, federal rebate to the school district that we can apply for, and we'll receive about $25,000. So
do we receive that, or does CVEF receive that?
we'll receive that, yeah, we'll receive that, because we're footing initially the entire upfront of the $92,000. We'll get that $25,000 back then from the federal government. So the net grant is what, like $60-some thousand in net. There are two alternatives that was listed in the bid summary. One is an option to extend the equipment warranty, and the other is to extend the software warranty. That the software that is incorporated into this is going to be helping with a lot of the monitoring of the energy savings and energy
And the
specs.
grant will cover that.
Yes, if we have enough, but we would just like to have that opportunity.
Sure.
Right now, it appears that we would have enough left over to cover those two alternatives.
I definitely say get the warranty.
Oh, yeah, yes,
So, if I can ask Ken something.
yes.
Just, how much of this roof will it cover? Ten percent?
Yeah, not even probably 10%.
Yeah.
And the benefits of electricity will feed the workshops?
It
that
goes
the plan?
back into the system.
Goes back, and whoever pulls from it gets it up?
Yeah, it's not really dedicated to one specific area as far as where it pulls from, but the program that's being provided with this gives Mr. Masano the educational benefits to share with his class. And just to clarify on the warranty, all the panels, the components themselves have like a 25-year warranty, I believe, on the solar panels. The warranty actually is the contractor's warranty.
Sure.
So that's extending their warranty to 10 years as opposed to the 5.
What I would like to know is going green is getting larger, big, going zero emissions type thing. And if it works really well, I'd really be interested in maybe expanding that solar piece of it and making the middle school
And as far as
energy
the
neutral.
building to utilize, that is probably the ideal one with all the metal, standing seam metal roof and how much of it actually faces directly south. So this would be on the south side, right over the tech ed area. I didn't really calculate it, but I bet it's probably less than 10% of the roof area.
Okay.
If you look at it total, what is it, Adele, it's like 89 panels or 80 some panels.
So our electricity bill's pretty big.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, across the district.
It
But
is.
if we wanted to invest in that,
Yeah.
it'd be a good test platform.
And everything we've been doing is, going
Sure,
energy efficient
sure,
on
absolutely.
LEDs and.
The lights and
high-efficiency bulbs
everything else, yeah,
and,
understand.
So building automation systems, all of those things, but yeah, this is another component. And
Then you can throw in the education piece of it, the tech
Oh,
ed
that's the
piece of
exciting
it,
part, yeah.
and that could really just grow.
And I know Mr. Masano is actually looking also at a small wind piece as well, so he can show that aspect, and we're not talking a big windmill out there.
No.
I hope not.
It's next to an Amish farm, it works.
Say it's like it's
Oh, but those windmills are a lot bigger than what the Amish farms have.
Yes, this is true, but no, something of a smaller scale, it could be shown to charge batteries and do things of that nature.
Yeah, so.
Is in the price things like squirrel guards, personal experience. Squirrel guard that goes around, because the clips, they will rip the clips off, so I suggest you screw them in.
This is going on a standing seam metal roof, the
When
whole
they get
mount-
under and chew the.
Yeah, but the whole mounting process on how they have to attach it to the roof is, they have to use special equipment and fasteners to do that, so we don't impact the roof warranty either.
Yeah, because I know the squirrel guards, they tend to clip it to the actual solar panel. Our squirrels are smart enough to flick the suckers off the roof.
Okay.
And then the squirrel guard goes into the yard and
What happens to the squirrel?
well, he was no longer with us.
I didn't, we had a squirrel guard expert.
Haven't seen many squirrels around the middle school, we did have a few raccoons, but that was.
Yeah.
As long as we don't have possums, I don't care.
Do the warranties on those cover weather damage and stuff like that? Like hailstorm, that kind of stuff, or is that the warranty typically is regular wear and tear, but we get some weird stuff, so I'm just curious with 87 panels,
I think hail damage might fall under our insurance.
Yeah, I
Insurance,
think
so we'll
so.
get coverage with
That
that.
becomes an element of the building itself, like the warranty's gonna cover its operation and functionality.
Right,
Or that would be,
that covers the rest,
Yeah.
okay.
Any other questions? Any concerns, and that'll be on the consent agenda for next week also.
Thank you very much, and
Well, while I have you here, can I ask a quick, slightly unrelated question? I noticed the Federal Department of Education finally got its numbers out. Are we getting anything from that?
what was the first part I didn't
The
hear?
Federal Department of Education. They released some numbers, and of course I wouldn't understand where all that money was going. I just wondered if that affects us at all. It took us a while to get the final state budget.
Yes,
And
yeah.
the Federal Department of Education finally got their budget put together.
I have not seen anything on that yet.
Just wondered.
But it'll be allocated, the federal monies get allocated through states
State.
to the
Yeah.
district, so that comes through our title program,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
We have
haven't
not
received
gotten
an
those
update.
numbers of whether it'll.
I just wondered if we heard anything yet.
Sure.
Thank you. I didn't mean to trip you up.
No, that's okay.
That was not my intention. Okay.
All right, next item. I know that we just presented you the 800 policies, but there's a revision that we are asking to make on policy 801. Policy 801 addresses the right to know law. And if we put in some verbiage that anybody that's requesting information from us through Right to Know must be a US citizen, which we already have some of that language, but also saying that we have the right to reject and deny a request if it's from an anonymous requester. We've had a flurry of, other school districts in the state have had a flurry of Right to Know requests where a lot of information has to be provided. I spent hours on one recently that this could possibly give us the grounds to deny that and spend our time better doing something other than digging through enormous amounts of invoices for them. So we're just requesting this go into the process for reading and then approval.
If it's anonymous, we have no way of knowing if it meets the independent request or business request. Can we demand that they provide that information?
We could certainly request, yes.
So-
Prove that they're not a business?
So there's been, the context around this is there's been an uptick, I would say, in almost businesses cropping up around the idea of Right to Know, that allow, that if somebody wants to make a Right to Know request, they can use one of these businesses will submit it on their behalf. And they'll give a name, but we don't know. They want you to submit it through like a generic email and you don't know if, okay, you say that you're doing it on behalf of this person, but are you? There's been a lot of, and what they're doing is they're not requesting things specific to Conestoga Valley or any specific district. They'll be like, we want this from every district in Pennsylvania. And certainly we want to be transparent. That's what that's Freedom of Information Act is for. But I think there's been some recent litigation and recent case law that has backed up school districts. And if as long as you make it clear in your policy and on your website that the district does not accept anonymous requests, then we don't have to go through that extra labor of finding, okay, is this legitimate? Is this a robot requesting it? Is it a US citizen or not? We don't know that when it's coming through these third parties. And it's making it really challenging on our staff who's trying to sort through all these. So the courts have backed up and our solicitor has, are supporting us and wanting to add a statement about not accepting anonymous requests. So that's a little bit of the context. It's not about not being transparent, but where we have to be transparent, we also want those filing the requests to be transparent and making sure we know who they are.
Okay. Questions? If not,
My only other question, Adele, are you our open records officer?
I am the co-office, or.
Technically, I am.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I would say probably 95% of the time, the request has to do with some sort of financial record, so I kick it over to Adele usually.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
sure. Okay. If there's no concern, this will be on the consent agenda next week also. One more.
One more. So with all the moves with Smoketown, Leola, district office, this is just a requirement that we need school board approval to, on an affidavit to verify the moves of our buildings. So if you could actually vote on that tonight, we would appreciate that so we can get that set up with PDE.
Any problems? Well, that's the last of the approvals we have to do, so I will accept a motion to approve items for D, E, and J.
What were we
I
doing
thought-
with D,
I thought
which
D
were
was,
we deciding to keep it
D
the
we're
way it is?
tabling.
D, the motion would be
Oh.
Google Translate, correct?
That was only if
Which
we
we don't
went
need
with
a
the
vote,
other,
yeah.
okay. Then we only need approval for E and J.
Do we need A?
I. Do we need I?
I technically
Yeah.
need approval of first
It's a
reading, and
first
then it
reading.
goes to consent for second reading.
Oh,
We always
okay,
approve first
the
reading.
list I had it for first reading and consent agenda next week.
Yeah, but we still approve the first reading technically.
No, that we go on consent agenda for first approval next week. But we can do it this week if you want.
I think she wants to get it all approved by next board meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine, works with me, okay.
Okay, so you're saying.
Here's the motion we need. I need a motion to approve items for E, I, and J.
Motion to approve items E, I, and J.
Second.
We have a roll call vote for these, please.
Mrs. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Hurst?
Aye.
Mrs. Kapka?
Aye.
Mr. Talley?
Aye.
Mr. Gensel?
Aye.
Mr. Eby?
Aye.
Ms. Trowbridge?
Aye.
Dr. Martin?
Aye.
Mrs. Grohl?
Aye. We have a unanimous vote? Item K, Character Strong revised contract.
So this will be on the consent agenda
Mhm.
for next week. It's Character Strong's been our character education program we've had in the district for years. It was you know our monthly character traits, but there's a whole curriculum that goes along with that and a whole proprietary program we purchased and that's already been approved. We're asking for a revision to that. And Sarah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Really, the team that evaluates our character ed program has made the determination that the high school curriculum, they don't feel it's getting the buy-in from students. It's not as engaging. They like the character traits, but the high school committee has sort of developed their own lessons and curriculum that they think are more relevant, more engaging around it. So the revision is to not have to pay for the K-12 curriculum package, but to only purchase it up through grade 8. Is that in a nutshell what we're doing here? Okay.
Questions? And that will be in the consent agenda for next week.
So what was it last year with the high school in it?
The cost?
About $3,500 in addition to.
35 plus.
It was about an additional 35.
Okay.
So it's one of those things, if we're not using it, why are we paying for it?
Right.
Why are we buying it? Absolutely. Okay, that covers our, that part of the agenda. Next week's agenda is posted. And then we get to this time if anyone in the public would like to address any other issues. Does the board have any issues or announcements? Well, if not, I will take a motion to adjourn to executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
Move to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.